everybody. I'm digital media editor Warren Frey, and I'm here today with
Judith Reda, Program Director, League of Champions.
Patricia Pereira, Director of Health and Safety for Kenaidan Contracting Limited.
And we're going to talk about a bunch of different things, but since this is winding up Women in Construction Week, that's going to be sort of the dominant part of what we're talking about. And I guess I'd start with there are female leaders in construction, obviously, and some of them are making a big difference with safety culture. So what are the things that you see happening specifically, generally with construction, but specifically with female leaders that they're sort of moving forward in terms of safety culture in the industry?
I'll jump in, Judith. I think for me personally, what I've experienced is obviously more women coming into the industry. And as a result of more women coming into the industry, they're just supporting that diversity that we've always experienced in this industry. I know when I first started in construction, it was predominantly male. Women were typically in a administrative or supportive role. Now you see women moving into positions of leadership within the industry, and it's just, like I said, adding to the diversity that this industry has always brought.
I feel that the workplace climate, as far as gender roles, has changed, and it's allowing so many more women to showcase their talents. Much like Patricia said, in years past, not as many women in the health and safety sector, but the past 3 years have been a uniquely difficult time, especially for health and safety professionals. But I really feel that women in the industry have showcased their talents.
Now, in terms of, I'm not to talk down anything that men have done in terms of safety, because they've done a lot in terms of getting safety awareness, but women have a different perspective that men just aren't aware of because they're men. So what perspectives do women bring to safety culture that a guy probably just wouldn't think about, but which is equally important?
Speaking from my personal experience, I think it's a more nurturing approach. I know that with my team, I always encourage us to be part of the solution and not necessarily compound the problem. Whereas I know as in my career, as I was, growing up in the industry, I was more encouraged to identify the problem, but not necessarily participate in its, in the development of a solution. So I think that that perhaps maybe as a result of, obviously, I think the evolving culture within construction, but also I think that may have been as a result of more women coming into the industry and as we all evolve as persons, I think it's just more in our in our nature to include people and to be more inclusive rather than take the approach that, okay, it's wrong, it's your responsibility to fix it. So we're more collaborative as a culture, I think, now too. So that's probably allowed for more women to feel more comfortable in coming into an industry where, collaboration is more widely accepted and more widely the norm.
And in terms of safety concerns for women in the industry, there's stuff that's obvious, like and terrible, like bullying and harassment that suddenly a woman has to worry about probably more than a man does, which is unfortunate but true. But there's also things like clothing not being the right size, or standards not being adjusted to the fact that somebody who's like of a different size, smaller or larger, is wearing those clothes. Or there's things that people don't know until they know. And what would some of those concerns be?
Sorry, I keep jumping in, Judith.
No, Patricia, please. This is your expertise. I always like to listen to you. You know that.
I think it's funny you should say about the clothing, right? Because typically when we purchase, I'll use the word swag, it's in men's sizes, right? So oftentimes it's overlooked. I'm not going to say we get overlooked. It's just overlooked because for so many years, it's been the norm to just cater to the majority. having said that, I think there's more of an attempt now to be inclusive. You know, in preparation for this, you know, I started thinking about workplace violence and harassment and how that's played part in my career. And I have to say, I've been very fortunate. I've always been fortunate to work with amazing teams, amazing people. But I also think that you permit what you promote. So, and you know, I think there's oftentimes situations where, you know, we need to recognize them, not just as men or not just as women, but as men, and either walk away from them or not participate or support them or contribute to them. And I think that's probably why, you know, maybe just my naiveness or shyness or you know, kept me from maybe putting myself in a situation where I may have experienced some of that. But I've been very fortunate, and I think it's a true testament to the types of individuals that now employers are trying to hire, and they're trying to weed out those issues by not hiring people that they don't feel are aligned with their culture or aligned with their business model. Whether
Okay.
that be at an executive level or, you know, at the level in the field.
Okay, and switching gears a little bit, the Campaign for Health and Safety. This is a League of Champions initiative. What is it, and what are the goals for it?
So the Campaign for Health and Safety, it is a multi-year campaign supported by the Ministry of Labor, Training and Skills Development. It is geared to promote the benefits of a strong safety culture, highlight best practices, and promote tools to understand and improve organization safety culture. So the campaign goal will be to include all the tools that a company would need to build a strong safety culture, you know, including audits and workplace inspections and direct safety culture measures. So we're working on bringing webinars, resources, and the SCAT survey to all League of Champions members.
Okay, and since Women in Construction Week just occurred, what did League of Champions do and OGCA do for Women in Construction Week?
Oh gosh, we are very proudly highlighting women in all sectors of the construction industry through videos, photos, and interviews. These women, their roles range from the offices, finance, human resources, executive assistants, administration, to estimating, to women on the tools, machine operators, health and safety coordinators and management, as well as women in executive roles. So over the last couple of weeks, we interviewed 18 women and asked them several questions. And those questions included, you know, how and why did you get into construction? Why did you choose your trade? What advice do you have for women considering getting into the trades? And each woman was also asked to complete, you know, 2 statements. I chose construction because, and my favorite thing about working in construction is, and honestly, Warren, it was remarkable. And at times it was very moving to hear their responses. Every woman's answer was different. Perhaps they needed to support, you know, their families as a single parent, or some said they were new to Canada. Others had strong family influences and support. And a lot of them just wanted to be outside and not sitting behind a desk. So the OGCA and League of Champions, we launched our Women in Construction Week a little early on Wednesday, March 2nd with our trailer video. And since then, we've begun a very active social media campaign, sharing photos and interview highlights from all of these ladies.
That's something I was going to ask about the trailer. This is a whole other level of safety because with COVID, you've got to do things differently to make kind of one of these trailers. So how did you go about making the trailer?
It was a joint effort between OGCA and the League of Champions. I began making a few phone calls to women across the industry, and it grew from there. You know, I still have women contacting me daily wanting to get involved. I mean, we had some very long days driving to and from project sites and office location, but it was really worth every moment. It was incredibly motivating. And that motivation came from the women themselves. You know, Sabrina Tropiano from the OGCA and I were overwhelmed by their appreciation for us listening to and documenting their stories. And we wanted to show this diverse, brilliant, and very largely untapped group of women in the construction industry. And, I mean, I have to admit, some of the stories were wonderful, and there were a few that were really sad. Mm-hmm. So we worked very hard to meet everyone at crazy hours, whatever accommodated their work schedules. And it was nice because we were able to abide by all social distancing and get their masks off and get some great photos and recordings.
Okay, and Women in Construction is not just 1 week in March, it's all the time. So what are some of the League of Champions efforts that go beyond construction, and not just with women, but let's concentrate on that with women in construction across the year and long term, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Well, we at the League and at OGCA are very committed to continuing the conversation about women in construction. This is an ongoing priority for us, not just 1 week a year. Our goal is to continue supporting and highlighting women across the industry and demonstrating that construction can be a destination career for women. I mean, my personal role at the League is to champion safety initiatives across the industry. And we believe that sharing best practices includes having discussions about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that includes the need for having more women in construction. Mm-hmm. As I said a minute ago, during our interviews, it was really remarkable to hear their responses. Every answer was different as to why they joined construction, but no matter what their job title was, every woman took great pride in being a part of the construction industry, being treated as an equal, learning new things, and being a part of building something lasting. And to be completely honest, Warren, we would be doing a great disservice by not continuing these conversations all year long.
And I'm sure there are women listening right now who are maybe interested in getting in the construction industry and this is a good jumping off point for them. So where should they go to discover more and to learn more and how they can enter the industry?
I know there are, Patricia, you may want to jump in at any time on this one. I know in the province of Ontario, there's 23 or 24 colleges that offer programs in construction. There's wonderful health and safety programs. There are apprentice opportunities and even high school co-op programs. Mm-hmm. There's some other great resources out there, but they're always welcome to call the League of Champions, and I would be able to provide them some direction.
Like Judith mentioned, there are universities and colleges, a number of them offer programs that are geared to obviously prepare someone for a future or career in construction, whether it be from an engineering stream or possibly from a health and safety perspective in the case of my career progression. Having said that, there is a number of careers within construction that are similar or to other industries, either in finance and human resources. And having come from, I started in construction when I was 16. So I've worked in, helping out on site in finance, human resources, and now health and safety. So the amount of experience and exposure I got in the construction industry to all of those areas were amazing to me. And when I compare them with some of my colleagues who had similar experiences outside of the industry, they just don't sound as dynamic. So definitely if for anyone who's listening, they want a dynamic career and something that's going to be challenging and contributing to sustainability and as well as the development of our communities, definitely construction is the way to go.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Warren.